Hey guys, welcome back once again to the Record Room with me, your host, your old pal, Tony Giles, TG. And on this week's episode, I thought it'd be kind of fun to actually take a look at my Record Store Day 2022 pickups, which you can see in front of you. I don't know if you can actually see every title, because for the first time in a very long time, I actually went pretty hard on the Record Store Day stuff. Yes, I probably picked up some things I didn't really need, but there were some really killer titles for Record Store Day this year. And I hope everybody had a good time out there, whether you were queuing up at 5 AM or whether you took your chances later on in the week. As I did, I actually did both. I went out on Record Store Day and I also went back a couple of days ago, actually, to see what else I could scoop up. And so I have a ton of records here. We'll take a look at some of them. I won't take a look at every single one of them because we would literally be here for hours. But without further ado, let's dig into Record Store Day 2022. Okay, so we'll kick off with one of my most anticipated Record Store Day releases from Record Store Day Black Friday 2021. And that was the expanded version of Angelo Badalamenti's score for David Lynch's Blue Velvet. And it didn't come out then. I'm guessing it was probably delayed somewhat, but what I did find kind of funny is if you bought the record, that's the hype sticker, but you can actually see the original hype sticker on mine kind of poking through with the original Record Store Day Black Friday release, which I thought was kind of funny, but obviously it's no big deal that it got delayed. The important thing is it's finally out. And this version of Blue Velvet comes with the original Italian key art by the absolute legend Enzo Scotti, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. I personally am not a fan of this artwork. I do not think it represents the film at all. Makes it look like some kind of lurid giallo, and that's not what it is, but it is a gatefold, which does feature probably the images we all know and love from the Varese Sarabande original release. Which is nice, I will say that. Back cover there with credits and tracks. And this actually comes with printed inner sleeves. Now, while I do enjoy a good printed inner sleeve, these paper sleeves, they aren't great for your records. They're really not. And as you can see, I mean, the first opportunity I get, I do put all of my records in polyline sleeves unless they come that way anyway. But, you know, the amount of text here could have easily fit on the inside. I mean, do we really need to see that image again? I don't think so. We could have just had a nice printed gatefold, but hey ho, I wasn't working on this record, so nothing to be done there. The record itself does come on a fairly nice color though. It's classed as blue marbleized vinyl, and that's exactly what it looks like. So there you go. The actual record itself sounds pretty good. Mine did have a few minor sound issues, but nothing I'm going to complain about because I already have several versions of the original Blue Velvet soundtrack. But I think the reason most people bought it was for this disc, which is exactly the same as the other one. Even down to the center label. I mean, the color's slightly different, but yeah, it's the same thing. And this disc is what kind of made it a desirable purchase for somebody like me that already has a few different copies, because this comes with, essentially, it's called Lumberton Firewood, and this comes with an additional LP of cues. Now, are those cues essential? It's not for me to say. I personally enjoy having them. This was the first record I listened to when I brought my Record Store Day purchases home, and I was pretty happy, I will say that. So that was my most desired Record Store Day purchase. Let's take a look at some of the others. Now, if you know me or you've been following me online for a while, you know that I'm a big jazz fan, and Bill Evans is my favorite jazz musician, an absolute pioneer, a legend. There aren't enough. We're not going to go into a diatribe about Bill Evans. Needless to say, I love the man, I love his music. And we have two releases from Resonance Records this Record Store Day. And they've been doing a few releases over the last couple of years, and they've all been good. These two are absolutely fantastic live recordings. They are just mind-blowingly well recorded, well produced, well mastered. We have the 1973 concert from Buenos Aires, and we have the 1976 concert from Buenos Aires with two different trios. We've got Eddie Gomez and Marty Morell on Morning Glory, and Mark Johnson and Joe LaBrea on Inner Spirits. And what's great with these are essentially, you know, kind of audiophile releases. Deluxe limited edition of 6500, 180 gram hand pressed 2 LP sets, mastered at 33 by Bernie Grumman and pressed at RTI, which anytime you read kind of that blurb, you know you are in for a good time. And that's exactly what these records are. They really do sound fantastic. They really do. They look great as well. And I'll show you the way they do this. So the 6500, that is a very limited edition for a release like this. And so you get the number down there. It's a handwritten deal. And both of them come with an extensive set of liner notes, which is more, it's like a mini magazine or a booklet. It's great. You've got some superb photos, and you've got, you know, reminiscence from the musicians, people that were at the show, other musicians that got to see Bill in Buenos Aires. These are two absolutely fantastic releases, and I think for the price that they were around £40. I could see these instantly doubling or tripling easily within the next year. So I personally don't buy my records to flip, but investing in jazz from Record Store Day is never a bad idea because these releases tend to skyrocket. But two of my absolute favorite releases from Record Store Day, have listened to these, have loved them, and will definitely be listening to these more often than not in the future. And so we go from Bill Evans, one of the most elaborate packages I saw this Record Store Day, to one of the most sparse, bare bones packages there are. This is the Everlast debut, Whitey Ford Sings the Blues. I was, when did this originally come out? Does it say? 1998. So I was 20 years old when this album came out, and I absolutely loved this. I was such a fan of Everlast and House of Pain, and when he went off and started doing, you know, his guitar stuff, his acoustic stuff, I just thought it was fantastic. What It's Like is still one of the best songs I've ever heard. I think it's brilliant. It's great social commentary from the time. And as soon as I saw this, I was like, I've got to have this. I have got to have this. And unfortunately, well, all you get is the album. It's not even a gatefold. It's 2 LPs in, they are in polyline sleeves, which is nice, but no colored vinyl here, which I'm actually, you know, not upset about that because I am a black vinyl purist, but yeah, there you go. Everlast, Whitey Ford Sings the Blues. It is a fantastic album. I also liked his second one, Something Else About Whitey. I can't remember the name, but this is a brilliant album, and I was very happy to have picked this up. So yeah, so from something really elaborate to something very stark packaging wise, but it's what's in the grooves that counts, and this for me is an absolute essential purchase. Next up, we've got one of the greatest live albums ever recorded, in my opinion. And yes, this one does still have the shrink on it. And yes, you can see me. Hi guys, how are you? This is Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds Live Seeds, long awaited on vinyl. This was recorded during the 92-93 Henry's Dream Tour. And this is three-sided, or this is a three-sided LP. And what does that mean? Well, it means there's content on 3 sides and the 4th side is actually etched. The track list is just classic after classic after classic. And we'll take a look here. I've replaced these inner sleeves because, again, they come with paper inner sleeves, but there's nothing in the way of notes. It's just the tracks. So yeah, there you go. I am just not a fan of paper sleeves. They do tend to scuff. There's no getting away from that. The record is pressed on red vinyl. It looks very nice. It sounds very, very good, which I'm a big fan of, but it's the 4th side. So let me see if I can get this. We seem to be doing a lot of etched records on the Record Room recently. This is the 3rd one in a row, and I don't know how much of this is coming through, but on the fourth side, it says Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, and it's in the same font as the Live Seeds logo from the front. So essentially what you get is this, but it says Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. This, I think, has sold out pretty much most places by the time you're watching this, but it's always worth checking in at your local record store. You never know what's going to arrive. And at the end of this video, I'll show you what I actually went back and managed to pick up during the week. Art Pepper meets the Rhythm section, one of the most anticipated and hottest titles this record store day. Also just happens to be one of the greatest jazz albums ever made, in my opinion. This was released by Craft Recordings, and this is an all analog mono master. What is this? All analog tapes, remastering from the original tapes by Bernie Grumman, pressed on 180 gram vinyl at QRP. QRP, one of the finest record pressing plants in the world. And this one is, again, it's fairly bare bones. This isn't like, although it replicates the original sleeve, it doesn't have a flip back cover. It does, it's a nice card sleeve, it really is. And you know, I haven't taken all of these out and cut all the stickers off yet and put them in, you know, acid-free, resealable sleeves just yet, because I'm filming this shortly after Record Store Day, but you're seeing it in the future. But this is nice. It comes in its own polyline sleeve. QRP actually offer these sleeves for free when you're pressing a record there. So it's nice to have those, but it replicates the original Contemporary logo, and boy howdy, this record sounds just, you know, for me, it's the sound. It's always going to be the sound. I do like a nice bit of packaging, I really do, but this album is just, it's transcendent. It is absolutely fantastic. And if for any chance your record store still has one of these and you're kind of a fringe jazz fan, jump all over this record. You will not be disappointed. This one here was a UK exclusive, I believe, but I'm sure some copies will make their way over to the US at some point. This was numbered to 2,000 copies. I have number 1964. And this is Mark Isham's score for Rutger Hauer's just mind-numbingly terrifying performance in The Hitcher. This film scared me so much as a child. Like, I had PTSD from this film. I was so disturbed by this film. I watched it at a time when I shouldn't have been watching this film, and it freaked me the hell out. It really, really did. As Silver Screen have been doing over the last couple of years, this has actually been manufactured without shrink wrap, which I'm a huge fan of. I would happily take one of these Obies. Less shrink wrap in the world. I am all for it. So there's the back cover there. Unfortunately, I can't get this. Oh, I've tried to slide it off so I can show you the gatefold, but I'm not having any joy at the moment. So we're gonna have to bypass that. But the record itself comes on, it's classed as turquoise vinyl, and well, I think it does a pretty good job of being turquoise vinyl. Again, this one comes with a paper inner sleeve, which I'm not a fan of, but I've replaced that. Very, very nice center labels. You don't need anything fancy, you just need it to say what it is. And more importantly, one of the things I absolutely love is when a record label puts the sides. So side A there, and side B there. It's not a hard thing. It doesn't intrude on your artistic vision. More record labels out there should have the A and the B side, and dare I say, the speed that it's supposed to be played at as well. That would also be helpful. But The Hitcher, an absolute blessing of a score. If you're in the UK, you're still able to snag a copy of The Hitcher. What on earth are you waiting for? One of the other absolute big hitters from Record Store Day across the world was Childish Gambino's Kwai score, or Kwai record, I should say. I've got scores on the brain. This has never been available before on vinyl. And Childish Gambino is just absolutely huge now. He is ginormous. And weirdly enough, I just recently picked up a vinyl copy of his first album, Camp, after having a CD for many years. I finally upgraded, and what was kind of cool about this one is they did 3 different versions, of 3 different colors, I should say. And it says on the hype sticker, pressed on one of 3 surprise color vinyl variant or 3-color surprise color variants, which I actually think is pretty cool. You know, it's on a color. Which one are you going to get? There was a light blue, a yellow, and a split. So you had a choice of one of those, and you know, I actually enjoyed that. I'm not a huge fan of colored vinyl, but it was kind of cool to like, oh, I wonder which one I actually got. And so this one I haven't replaced the inner sleeve yet, but I will be doing that. It does come with an insert with lyrics, which is pretty nice. And it also comes with a printed inner sleeve as well. You know, I could live without that. I don't need that. I don't need that at all. Nice polyline sleeve would have done the job. But what color did you think I got? Did you think I got the split? Did I get the blue? Did I get the yellow? Let's find out. Ta-da! I got the yellow version, which I think looks fantastic. So I'm not mad about that whatsoever. Very happy to have this. And this is actually something I picked up about 3 days after Record Store Day had actually happened. So there were still stores out there that still had this, despite it being one of the most popular items. It just goes to show you, it pays to shop around and it pays to keep checking even after the day has finished. So Childish Gambino's Kwai, very happy to add that to my collection. This one here, this is the reissued score for The Red Queen Kills 7 Times. I'm not going to try and butcher the Italian, although if you followed me online for a while or any of my podcasts, you know that butchering the Italian language is something I do fairly well. This has actually been released before as a single disc affair by Dagger Red. And the reason I picked up this version was not the bonus 35-second unreleased track. That's right, there is only one unreleased track on this album. Technically 2, but one of them is an edited version of the theme, which, who needs that? There's one unreleased song on this and it's 35 seconds long. But the reason I picked this up is because of the artwork by my old friend Eric Adrian Lee. This is absolutely stunning, especially compared to the Dagger Red version. If you've never seen that, please go and Google it right now because it is atrociously bad. But this is fantastic. Eric always does amazing artwork. And I was quite happy to pick this one up just to have nice artwork as well. Haven't listened to this one yet, but I plan to do so in the very near future because I'm a big fan of the score. The record, I've heard that it's cut 45, but the label actually says 33. So I don't know. It's pressed on red, it's pressed on opaque red vinyl. I guess it fits in with the title of The Red Queen. It's a great record, you know. If you've never heard it, it is really, really good. And it says down here on the hype sticker, restored from the original master tapes. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an analog cut of the record. The original master tapes could have been digitized at any point. I'm pretty sure the original Dagger Red version mentioned nothing to the effect. So maybe I'll do a back-to-back comparison with the two, and then I'll post up about that on our social media, which you can follow at Record Room Show on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Not so much on the Facebook these days because I don't think anybody is. But it's a great score. It's a great film if you've never seen it. So if you see it kicking around and you fancy something lush, beautiful, and a little bit daring in places, check out The Red Queen Kills 7 Times. Now I'll race through this one because I haven't actually opened this one yet. I literally picked this up yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to open it and clean it yet. But Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells 2. I grew up being such a fan of the first album, and when Tubular Bells 2 came out in 1992, I remember buying the Sentinel single. I believe it's called Sentinel. Yes, it's called Sentinel. It's the first track on this. And I really liked it. You know, it's a good continuation of the original Tubular Bells, which is an absolute classic. So I can't say much about this other than it's nice to have. Yeah, Tubular Bells 2. It wasn't fantastically expensive, which is always nice for Record Store Day, and I do like me some Tubular Bells. So yeah, this will probably be one of the records I actually go and listen to next after completing this video. So there you go, Tubular Bells 2, and we'll dive into my final pickup next. So last but not least, this is the Doors LA Woman Sessions. Now I'm not going to bust this open because there are quite a few unboxings of this online and they're all really good. So just go and search out one of those while you're on YouTube. But essentially what you have here is a 4 LP set of the LA Woman album, but it's sessions, outtakes, demos, and you can hear how the LA Woman album essentially came together, which is very, very cool. This has been released digitally. I believe it was maybe it was the 50th anniversary of LA Woman. I'm not sure, it was for some anniversary, and I don't know, does it say on the front? It doesn't say how many of these there are, and I don't know off the top of my head, but I have number 8,305. So you know there are at least 8,000 copies of this out there. But this cost me £100, which for a 4 LP box set, I don't think is that terrible. I was surprised. Like, I thought this would sell out day one. I really did. I saw some stores carrying hundreds of this because it was going to be so popular, but I actually managed to track this down the middle of the week. So yeah, really, really happy to have this, add this to collection. I love the Doors. LA Woman is such a fantastic album, and hearing how these tracks come together, I mean, what's on here? We've got the Riders on the Storm Sunset Sound version, Riders on the Storm 18-minute long cuts, a 23-minute version of the Changeling Part 1 with then another 3 minutes on side 2, Love Her Madly running just over 15 minutes, LA Woman Part 1 nearly 20 minutes. I've never heard the digital version of this. I don't usually go in for that kind of thing, but this, I am so psyched to check this one out. So there you have it, folks, my haul from Record Store Day 2022, and there were actually some releases that didn't actually meet the deadline for time, so they've been pushed back to, I believe it's June 18th. There's a Prince title, the Prince Gold Experience. There was a live Miles Davis album. There were some other bits and pieces I wanted to get that have been pushed back, so I will of course be tracking those down when June time comes around. But I really hope everybody out there had a great Record Store Day. And if there is anything you're looking for, don't run to eBay, don't run to Discogs. Check around record stores. There are tons of record stores online that still have some really killer stuff. And as of right now, it's all available online. So thank you for checking out this episode of The Record Room. As I mentioned before, you can follow us on social media at Record Room Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until we meet again, stay gold, spin those blackest circles, and I'll be back with you very, very soon.